Hey guys, I know it's been a week and I have been so looking forward to touching base with you guys and to do a couple of videos that have been in the back of my head all week. I've been trying to get a bit more disciplined with my schedule because it's just really jam-packed right now with the good stuff with business and all that. And so anyway, yes, and so this topic has been on my mind all week because I feel like I'm finally like 90 to 95% there of actually getting my mom out of my head. And it feels so ridiculously awesome. I can't even say, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So anyway, so this is probably going to be a few part series because this is a huge topic. Truly, unlike people who have been, physically abused or, sexually abused or things like that, emotional abuse or verbal abuse is from what I've understood the hardest to overcome. And the reason why is because with physical and sexual abuse, you can get away from, the abuser. You can leave, you can escape, things like that. But when it comes to the emotional abuse, and the verbal abuse that, you endure, the thing is that you just continue to do it yourself. And it's in such subtle ways that you often don't even recognize or realize it, because, from the time of infancy for us, we've observed, we've adapted to our moms, our moms, defined life for us and reality and defined us for us, and so to unbreak that is huge and changes our lives hands down. And I think our thoughts are the steering wheel for our direction when it comes to healing. That if we that we have to be able to work on changing our thought patterns, and that if we do, our ability to move forward in healing, to be able to fully inhabit ourselves and let our true hearts, minds, bodies, souls actually be, and exist and thrive and not be, suppressed or oppressed by, the negativity of our past. I mean, thoughts are the absolute gateway. They are the key keeper, I guess you would say. I should have gotten more coffee this morning. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, it's everything to our healing, and so, anyway, so I'm really excited to talk about this topic because I've figured out so much about my own healing, and I've worked through so much because I finally started getting her out of my head. And so anyway, so the first step, I think, to getting your mom out of your head is to just recognize how much she actually is in your head, to really recognize what is absolutely uncomfortable, what is absolutely her, and to recognize that voice, and I think that it's a couple of things. I mean, one, sure, you can have these flashbacks of her audio in your head, or those flashbacks of moments. One that I will never forget was I was in my first year of grad school, and I moved, and it was when I chose to move across the country to get away from them, particularly, and of course she was hurt by that, feeling rejected, and like my mom, graduated high school, like that's as far as she got, and stuff, and so here I am in grad school, in a really cool state in the United States, and and I'm living this very independent life, and she never, did that with her own life. So I remember this moment where she was yelling at me and over Christmas break and said, by the time I was your age, I had 2 kids and a house. Now that's maturity, and that stuck with me, like this whole, like, my immature thing, and every once in a while I get flashbacks from that, those moments, for sure. And, but I think that the flashbacks are really more of just like, are more of a minority of the actual, emotional, verbal abuse, I think that there is, when you are being emotionally, or when you've been emotionally abused and it continues on, it's this, anywhere from, it's just this god awful feeling that can wreak havoc over you, that causes us to lose, like, kind of touch with reality, of us or ourselves or the situation, and good grief, no wonder most of us, like, adapt in some unhealthy way because of these thoughts and these feelings that we have in us, that we're just so used to these patterns. The only way to cope, of course, for many of us, we naturally cope by alcohol, or by, like for me was like an eating disorder, and then also being like really like protective of myself, and very, I don't want to say judgmental of others, but being judgmental of others, and very, for me, very religious, to an extent that it wasn't healthy. Things like that we all do in order to handle our handle our emotions, handle these awful thoughts and feelings that we battle with on a daily basis. Sorry, I gotta get a coffee. I need to drink my coffee really quick. So I think that, like, it makes total sense that that's how we cope. But I think too, even if you kick or try to kick those habits, if you don't kick the thoughts and the feelings behind them, the habits just come back. Like the struggles that we have just come back, I know that's been true with my eating disorder. I had it under control for a few years. It was fantastic until I went for the first time in years on a 5-day vacation with my family, and I came back, and it just came back, and I was like, I haven't done enough healing. I haven't gotten deep enough with this, and I don't know what to do. And that's when I'm so grateful that happened, though, because it really pushed me to, like, get into recognizing that I needed to change my thoughts. I needed to change my feelings. Like, I needed to get her out of my head in order for me to be able to be me, to heal, to inhabit myself and stuff, So I think that we have to recognize that there's a level of being uncomfortable, there's a level of being disappointed in ourselves, there's a level of being angry, at ourselves or at the world that is totally healthy. But for all of us, there is a huge, more extreme level of that pain and hurt and anger and judgmentalism and things like that. Or even numbness or passiveness that we will often feel that is not healthy and not okay. And especially because it devalues us. And that's why, like, we have to recognize those feelings and go, that's mom. I guess is the best way to say it, is that's mom in me, and ultimately, of course, what I'm going to walk through in this whole little series is, that ultimately it isn't exactly mom. It really isn't. It really is us. But the best way for us to at least get started in this process is to recognize that it is like mom being in our heads and stuff like that. So, all right, on to next part 2.